Sri Lanka.
People's Remittance இடமிருந்து நாளாந்தம் 10,000 ரூபாய், வாராந்தம் பெறுமதியான தங்க பவுன், மாதாந்தம் 1 மில்லியன் ரூபாவுடன் வருட இறுதி மாபெரும் சீட்டெழுப்பில் 1 கோடி ரூபாய். நீங்கள் வெளிநாட்டிலிருந்து மக்கள் வங்கியினூடாக பணம் அனுப்பும் போது பரிசு குவியல். People's Remittance, கோடி அதிர்ஷ்டம், அனுப்பவும் வெல்லவும்.
A pleasant evening and a very warm welcome to the national news of Rupavahini ChannelEye. I'm Dilanjali Anand. Joining me is Dishan Virakon. And these are the top stories which have made headlines for tonight.
400,000 kilos of milk powder, of which the date of expiry has lapsed, stranded at the Colombo harbour. A ban on bringing more than 22 carats of gold to Sri Lanka. The examination department is ready to release certificates of results of this year's ordinary level examination from day after tomorrow. Circular on the dress of government employees is to be revised. Home government tormented by storming of a deer. 345 million of the world's population is affected by a food crisis. A dashing of the FIFA football dreams of the state of Qatar.
Now for those and other stories in detail. The Association of Milk Powder Importers says 16 containers expired powder remain at the port due to inability to receive customs clearance. The total quantity of the stocks is 400,000 kilos. The association points out that negligence on stock, the part of the relevant state officials, has created the problem.
Now, the association also says that as a result, a milk powder shortage may arise in the near future. Upon national television inquiry from the Control of Imports and Exports, Mrs. Upulmali Premathilaka, regarding the issue, now she said that an actual importation of milk powder has not taken place and added that the stock may have been imported as a raw material for another product. The Milk Powder Importers Association says the milk powder stocks were sufficient to feed 1.6 million children. This stock was in the harbour since the 15th of July this year. As the stock is now destroyed to the extent of not being suitable for human consumption, it was compelled to be directed to an auction on chicken feed. Member of the Milk Powder Importers Association, Lakshman Veerasurya, said that what they are trying to do is to create a milk shortage in the country and to recreate a Q era and to put the government into difficulty. They allowed the date of expiry to lapse and then to receive the stocks to racketeers and to receive commissions.
අවුරස්මිය නොවදින තැනක සෙන්ටිග්‍රේඩ් අංශක 25ට අඩුවේ. මම මේ ගැන ඇහුවාම කස්ටම් එකෙන් කියනවා නෑ අපිට එහෙම පහසුකම් නෑ මේවා තියන්න. මේ අය ක්‍රියා කරන්නේ ඊටාම පහත් මට්ටමේ.
The actions of the Controller of Imports and Exports in granting prior approval was reported to have been attributed for the creation of the crisis. This loss in this regard to be considered to be around 800 million rupees. The national television has inquired from the Controller of Imports and Exports, Mrs. Upulmali Premathilaka, who is alleged to be responsible for the incident. She has responded saying that there had not been any importing of milk powder and that the stock may have been brought as a raw material for some other product. Mrs. Upulmali Premathilaka has further stated that a prior approval from her was compulsory before the importing of milk powder to the country. She added that, however, her approval was sought only after the arrival of the milk powder stock to the harbour and further pointed out that as the Controller of Imports and Exports, she has no authority to grant approval for an item imported in this manner. The Controller also said items which had been brought without prior approval come under the purview of the Director General of Customs under the Customs Act and therefore the issue had to be dealt under the Customs Ordinance.
The air passengers arriving in Sri Lanka are being banned from wearing jewellery exceeding 22 carats on their arrival. The relevant gazette notification is scheduled to be released next week. State Minister Ranjit Siambalapitiya says the aim of enforcing the ban is to prevent gold racketeering taking place in the country. It has been revealed that fraudulent persons daily smuggle into the country a quantity of gold nearly 50 kilos. This illegal operation deprived the country monthly of an income of more than $1 million. State Minister Ranjit Siambalapitiya said that nobody is allowed to arrive in the country wearing gold jewellery exceeding 22 carats. Any person hoping to wear jewellery in excess of this limit is required to receive a special permit to do so. However, there is no obstruction to arrive wearing gold items less than 22 carats. The State Minister has further pointed out that the new legislation aims to control the fraud and to allow regular passengers and those engaged in overseas services to arrive without any difficulties. State Minister Simbalapitia has expressed hope that the new measures would enable the country to recover large amount of foreign exchange lost due to fraudulent activities. Meanwhile, measures have been taken to clear items which were not being able to be cleared within a period of 2 months from the warehouses in the port due to numerous laws and regulations. It has also been reported that due to the prevailing situation, the Sri Lanka Ports Authority is incurring heavy losses as a result of losing payments on storage and warehouse rents. These items are being stranded within warehouses for a period of nearly 10 years. Now, 231,982 candidates out of the total number of students who had sat for this year's ordinary level examination have been eligible to pursue studies in the advanced level. The number of students who had obtained A-grade passes for all 9 subjects in their first appearance is 10,863.
443,856 candidates had sat for this year's GCE O-level examination. Out of this number, 311,553 had appeared for the first time. The Commissioner General of Examination says the release of exam results of 498 candidates has been temporarily suspended. Commissioner General of Examinations LMD Dharmasena said that 64% of the candidates whose exam results were subjected to a suspension were those who failed to produce a proper identification. In the year 2020, 76.59% of O-level candidates had been qualified for the advanced level. However, this year the percentage of qualified candidates had declined to 74.52%. The Commissioner said the percentage of examination candidates who failed in the examination of 2019 was 2.29%. In the year 2020, this percentage had declined to 1.87%. The Commissioner General added that, however, this year the percentage of failed candidates is 2.11%.
Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena said in Parliament today that the circular relating to stress of government employees issued during the COVID pandemic will be cancelled. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena said that certain groups are agitating, showing these old circular that one could come to the school by wearing any dress. The public administration has taken necessary measures to withdraw that circular. Parliamentarian Rohini Kaviratna said that if she was engaged in teaching profession, she would have been wearing up-country sari. Some are saying that female teachers are requesting a frock instead of a sari, as the former government makes it easier for them to travel with their partners. She added that this is an insult perpetrated on women and also to fathers who bring their children to the schools.
විදිහට මම දකිනවා. ඒ නිසා මේ පිළිබඳව ක්‍රියාමාර්ගයක් ගන්න. මේ ඇඳුම සම්බන්ධයෙන් අධ්‍යාපන ඇමතුමාත් ඉන්න නිසා මම කියන්නම්. ගරු ඇමතුමනි, දැන් මේ උද්දමනය නිසා සාරිය ගන්න යන මිල ගැනත් කතා වෙන නිසා මම ඉල්ලනවා. ගුරුවරුන්ට යුනිෆෝම් එකට දීමනාවක් දෙන්න. අනික් අයට දෙනවනේ. 2019 කොවිඩ්
Minister of Education Susil Premchand said that the COVID has destroyed the country in 2019. In order to facilitate the workers, a circular was issued. The Education Minister also said that everybody knows that there is a code of ethics for teaching profession. It clearly stipulates how the teachers should come for work and how to behave in order to preserve the respect bestowed upon them. He said that he is also grieved by the false information being spread via Facebook on this issue. CID is instructed by him to conduct investigations in this connection. The 2019 circular of the Minister of Public Administration will be removed. Then there will not be any problem regarding the dress code. The government is unable to allocate funds to employees in this connection.
Now, the Prime Minister says that it would be possible to conduct the local government election without a delay now if the opposition extended cooperation in this regard. Now, he has made these remarks participating in the debate on the votes of the Ministry of Public Administration, Home Affairs, Provincial Councils and local government. Now, the votes of the Ministry of Sports and Youth Affairs were also taken up for discussion today. Parliamentarian J.C. Alawatuwala said that many prefer to go for a local government poll. He added that therefore they must not further delay the holding of the election under the old system and to give the people the opportunity to express their voting rights. The parliamentarian further said that by today terms of many local government institutions have expired by at least 1 year. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena said that the present opposition, when they were in power, had suddenly brought revisions to the Local Government Act. Now the minister who brought the revisions is against them. This is a historical joke in Parliament. The Prime Minister has also recalled that he, as the chairman of the Election Committee, had attempted to unravel this deadlock. Accordingly, several recommendations have been presented. The cooperation of the opposition is required to fully implement these recommendations. He also said that one of the recommendations was to reduce the number of local government institute members. MP J.C. Alawatuwala said that terms of the local government bodies have been expired by 1 year. He has requested not to further delay the holding of the elections. The people have the right to elect a new group of members. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena said that according to the powers vested on the minister, only an extension of 1 year is allowed. He also said that at the time of extending the period of the local government bodies, nobody had objected. He has called on to conduct talks on delimitation by conveying the Election Commission. The authority of holding an election lies with the Election Commission. Parliamentarian Dallas Alaperma said that some provincial councils have remained dormant for 5 years. Now the provincial councils has become an irrelevant word. He has called and requested not to bring the same fate to the local government institutions like the provincial councils.
ඒක අඩු කරන්න ඕනේ. ඒකත් ඇත්ත. සමානුපාතික ක්‍රමයට පවත්වනවා නම් පරණ මේ මැතිවරණ විතරක් කෙලින්ම 80000 වෙනවා. ජනක විසඳුමක් තියෙනවා. අවශ්‍ය නම් අපි කවුරුත් උදව් කරන්න. රාජ්‍ය ආන්තරණයේ ඉන්න සියලු
Parliamentarian Vajirabe Vardhana said that the code of law should be equal for all government servants in the state mechanism. There are two types of laws for government officers. There could not be laws from place to place. Some people are paying EPF and ETF from their salaries.
Chief Judicial Sanganayaka of the Goal Disava of the Malwatta chapter, Venerable Valivitiye Sumanathera, reiterates that law should be sternly implemented against clergymen who make malicious statements against Buddhism and the Mahanayaka Theras. The Venerable Thera has made these remarks at a Sannaspatra presentation at the Malwatta Mahaviharya. Former Speaker of Parliament Karu Jayasuriya has also addressed the meeting. Chief Judicial Sanganayaka of Gaul Disava of the Malwatta chapter, Venerable Valivitiye Sumanathera, said that they have been made extremely desperate and was unsure whether they were able to live in their abodes. Some unseen forces are trying to create chaos. The Venerable Thera further said that they have heard of threats made on Mahanayaka Thera. The constitution is bound to safeguard the Shasana. He also said that Shasana does not mean merely temples and pillars of stone. The Mahanayaka Theras are those who protect the Shasana. Now, encroaching of people's habitats by wild animals is gradually increasing.
Now, storming of wild bees into villages have created many unexpected problems. Our inquiry now raises the question whether Homagama would also become another village tormented by this issue. Deer is an innocent group of animals living in forests, causing least amount of damages to the forest and to other animals. However, these animals leaving their habitats and entering villages has now become a problem. The group of deer you see on the screen originated only with 2 or 3 animals. But today, a group of 50 is causing trouble to the villagers. We have received reports recently regarding some of the deer afflicted by the rabies disease. Attempts of wildlife officials to capture the bunch of deers and move them to a safer location had been in vain, due to the shocks experienced by the deer during the raids that had resulted in the deaths of several animals. As a result, the operation was temporarily halted. Yet by today, the deer population in the Homagama area is increasing rapidly. The animals appear to be restricting their activities in shrublands during the daytime, but become a problem to both humans and animals at night. We at the National Television have inquired from the Department of Wildlife over the progress of the deer controlling program. Taking over of many animal habitats by the human beings appears to be a direct cause for the creation of the problem. Until the people grant justice to the animals, the problem would persist for these animals who are deprived of their birth, breeding and grazing places. Now, the Committee of Public Enterprises has informed the Department of Fisheries to propose a speedy program to overcoming defaulting of payment of EPF arrears amounting to 600 million rupees and also on recovering loans amounting to 300 million rupees.
This was disclosed when the COP met yesterday to ascertain on the Auditor General's report for the year 2019 and also on the present performances of tasks.
කරලා තියෙන සභාපතිතුමනි නමුත්
ඒකේ නිවැරදි කිරීමක් කරන්න බෑ. ප්‍රකාශන හැදුවට වැඩක් නෑ. ඒක අපිට පිළිගන්න පුළුවන් ආකාරයට හදන්න එපා. දැන් මිලියන කීයක් තියෙනවද ඔබතුමාලගේ ණය?
මිලියන 284.44. අනිත් අයට නීතිමය ක්‍රියාමාර්ග ගැනීම සඳහා දැන් නීති අංශයට යොමු කරලා තියෙනවා.
වෙලා තියෙන්නේ අර ණය කියන දෙයට බය නැති වෙලා තියෙනවා.
සාමාන්‍ය අධිකාරී අත්සන් කරලා තියෙන චක්‍රලේඛය මේකෙන් සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම තහනම් කරලා තියෙනවානේ මේ ණයට විකිණීම. ඒතර කොහොමද ඔය ණය දුන්නේ? දැන් මේක අය කරගන්නේ කොහොමද? කවුද වග කියන්න ඕනේ? මේ පුද්ගලයා දැන් ඉන්නවද?
මිලියන 20 ගාණක් වෙනකන් ණයට දෙන්න ගිය තැන්වලට දැම්ම මේ ගත්තු තීන්දුව తీරන ගත්තු නිලධාරීන්ට අවශ්‍ය කටයුතු කරන්න. වෙන කට්ටිය කරමින් නිකම් ආවේ කොල්ල නැහැනේ කාටවත්.
තව තියෙනවා මිලියන 579ක ණය ගෙවන්න. EPF ETF මේ ණය රැස් කර ගැනීම පිළිබඳ ක්‍රමවත් වැඩපිළිවෙලක් යෝජනා කරන්න ඕන. ණයගැතියන් හඳුනා ගන්න ඕන. හරිද? ඔබතුමාට සති 3ක කාල සීමාවක් දෙනවා ඒ කටයුත්ත කරන්න.
සියලුම රාජ්‍ය ආයතන ටික මේකට කියනවා ගෙන්නලා මේ ටික අපි හරියටම හදමු.
Now, plant bed owners are saying that they are finding with difficulty to maintain their businesses in the face of the present economic situation in the country. Now, they request the government to provide solutions to their problems. Many entrepreneurs are now focusing attention to direct themselves towards home garden as a remedy to evade from the crisis. It has also been pointed out that plant nurseries in the respective areas are the most convenient locations to purchase plant varieties, seeds and agriculture equipment of high quality for cultivation purposes. Market prices of materials required for planting of saplings including seeds, soil, sand, fertilizer, polythene and pots are reported to be prevailing at a higher price at present. This is a serious problem faced by the cultivators of plants. Meanwhile, producers in the field reiterate that if they receive relief for maintaining their plant nurseries, then they would be in a position to double their services and offer a striking contribution for the development of the agriculture industry. Well, that's it for local stories. Stay tuned for news overseas.
People's Remittance இடமிருந்து நாளாந்தம் 10,000 ரூபாய், வாராந்தம் பெறுமதியான தங்க பவுன், மாதாந்தம் 1 மில்லியன் ரூபாவுடன் வருட இறுதி மாபெரும் சீட்டிழப்பில் 1 கோடி ரூபாய். நீங்கள் வெளிநாட்டிலிருந்து மக்கள் வங்கியினூடாக பணம் அனுப்பும் போது பரிசு குவியல். People's Remittance, கோடி அதிர்ஷ்டம், அனுப்பவும் வெல்லவும்.
Welcome back. On foreign news, the International Monetary Fund says that unprecedented humanitarian challenge requires rapid action to ease suffering of those without enough to eat and provide financing to countries in need.
Food insecurity has been rising since 2018. Even before Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the increasing frequency and severity of climate shocks, regional conflicts and the pandemic were all taking their toll, disrupting food production and distribution and driving up the cost of feeding people and families. The situation took an even more dramatic turn with the war in Ukraine. This pushed the prices of food and fertilizers higher, still hurting importers and prompting several countries to impose export restrictions. According to the World Food Programme, the result is an unprecedented 345 million people whose lives and livelihoods are in immediate danger from acute food insecurity. And around the globe, more than 828 million people go to bed hungry every night. The impact of the food shock is felt everywhere. The suffering is worst in 48 countries, mainly highly dependent on imports from Ukraine and Russia, mostly low-income countries. Of those, about half are especially vulnerable due to severe economic challenges, weak institutions and fragility. Alongside the human toll, the financial costs are also escalating. A new paper by IMF staff estimates the impact of higher import costs for food and fertilizer for highly exposed to food insecurity will add $9 billion to their balance of payments pressures in 2022 and 2023. This will erode countries' international reserves and their ability to pay for food and fertilizer imports. In many places, even though food prices have eased somewhere from recent peaks, still high food and energy prices have fueled a cost of living crisis. Now, a shooter armed with a semi-automatic pistol and a bulletproof vest shot dead 2 teachers and a student while wounding at least 13 others at 2 schools in southeastern Brazil yesterday. The State Public Security Secretariat of Brazil said in a statement that the shootings took place with elementary and middle school students and a private school. Both are located on the same street in the small town of Aracruz in the state of Espírito Santo. It was not immediately clear whether officers had apprehended the shooter. The authorities said that 9 coaches were also injured in the Brazil school shooting. In a video provided by the Secretariat's press office, Espírito Santo Public Security Secretary said security camera footage showed the attacker was wearing a bulletproof vest and using a semi-automatic pistol to carry out the attacks. He added that the shooter at the public school gained access to the teacher's lounge after breaking the lock. He further said that the shooter covered his face, making it difficult to identify him. Police is probing whether he was helped by others.
And that's all the news we have for tonight. Do join us tomorrow at 8:50 p.m. for the very latest on Channel Eye News. I'm Delanjali together with Dishan signing off. Good night.
Good night.